Okay, everyone. Hello. How you doing? Hey, Bundy, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Just gotta remove the dadgum weather again. So we're back again with ye old mammoth tank. It is a big, heavy monster. So we're gonna be doing a couple of things to this. Number one, I'll be working on the barrels, and this is mostly just gonna be me fixing some stuff that needs to be fixed, adding a few extra details. I do have a small section down here that has light armor instead of heavy armor. Want to fix that. And then hopefully setting this up for a Tuesday live stream where I can then take this thing and maybe get it done by Thursday. Oh, yes, talk. No, we're going to call it the Shank, which actually sounds really good considering this is a big, giant, super heavy tank. I do have a busted tread right here for some reason. Let's see what the. All right, we'll fix all that. I guess I'll have to put some more armor plate back in there. Let's check over here and make sure nothing else is damaged on the sides of the tank. There we go. This section here is all right. I may have to add a little bit of armor underneath here, but other than that, the thing is looking pretty. I don't like, I'm looking at the treads and I'm kind of worried they're a little plain. So we're probably going to add some stuff to that. Make those look good and maybe add a few pieces of light armor to this bad boy so that it can look a little bit better than what it is now. I do need to fix that. I guess that's going to be the first thing I do. You know, you can turn off weather in the world. Can I? I should probably turn off the weather in world, actually. I just realized what you were saying there. I should do that. That would make things a lot simpler. All right, let's repair this section here. I'm going to have to do a cinematic for this bad boy, too. Wait, is that heavy armor or light armor? Heavy armor here. I'm looking at the wheels. I'm not looking at the armor. That's heavy. That's all heavy. I just don't know why it put that little tick right in there. Less. Oh, it's probably two different types of two different colors right in there. That makes sense. So for the barrels first, I need to first off, let's remove this nonsense here. All right, there we go. Now I shouldn't have any problems with removing stuff from the barrel. I'm going to increase this section here, make it with wider pieces, so that the barrels kind of look more like a big blockbuster muzzle brake. You just have to go to the save, then look at the options in the world edit. Then once you load the world, weather will be turned off. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll do that. Actually, let's do that right now because I don't want to f with that. I don't want to f with that for the entire live stream. So I'm gonna stop every so often, fix the stupid weather, and come right back to it. I do have a small survival world I am doing. That's just, let's see, can I like, let's see, weather. Experimental settings. Where's weather at? That's multipliers. This is environment. Okay. Disable that. Let's get rid of the sun moving as we're at it, because I didn't realize that was a thing. I figured I could turn weather off, but I didn't know I could turn off the frickin' sun's rotation. There we go. Dang, that would have saved me all alone. I went past it. It was on the right. Oh yeah, I got it now. I got it now. I got it now. But yeah, that's the cool thing about this mammoth is I'm gonna get it done. Now if I don't have to mess with the weather, I can probably actually get some shit done now. This will probably be like doing Pam when I did the Pam miner for the first time. And just suddenly turned that sucker on and sent it loose. And I was like, huh, I have so much freaking time on my hands now. I'm gonna go build some cool stuff. Which in the survival game that I'm doing, it's a simple survival. It's just vanilla. And I'm mostly doing it as I got to looking the other day and realized I don't have all the skins. So this is just me wanting to get some skins. That's it. That's all I want out of that is just to get some skins out of it. And as I've been doing that, look here. How much room have I got? I've got a bit of room right there. Let's see what I can come up with. Let's grab some light armor here. Number 2. But actually, let's go with this block. Do that there. And then go back to the 1. See, what I was wanting to do. Oh, that looks good. That actually looks really good. I could just space one of those blocks out if I wanted. Let's take this. Whoops. Well, we're going to replace that anyway. There we go. Big, heavy muzzle brake right there on the front end of this. Flip that up. By the way, it's mostly that entire run that I'm doing. Is mostly just so I can get the rest of the skins. It's been working out pretty good. Let's see, got all that done. So we'll have a much bigger muzzle brake looking design right here. But yeah, like I said, it's one of the I'm just grabbing stuff. So part of the reason that I'm mentioning it is I got in and started getting my hands on some equipment. And I thought, let's just go ahead and make us a really nice, because I'm just working with the small ship, the survival kit, or the little survival ship, whatnot. And almost immediately I get into a fight with some idiot NPC, and I'm like, all right, we've had enough. Badger's got to go build a warship now to deal with this retard. Lo and behold, what does Badger build? I am currently in the process of working on an Architens. There, that gives us a nice big heavy muzzle brake look. That's a nice big heavy muzzle. That looks really good actually. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna do that from now on. Flip that over, and then boom. Check that bad boy out. Now, oh yeah, that looks way better. That looks way better. Now I still got to leave room for those guns underneath to get past so they don't accidentally blow the whole thing up. But that looks amazing right now. That looks awesome. We're gonna keep doing that. All right, let's go ahead and take this stuff off here. Uh-huh. Yep, there's always going to be some technical difficulties. But yeah, so I just started building an Architins, and it actually has turned out quite well. The engines are looking really good, and it's going to look like I'm going to have enough room on it to probably turn it into its own survival ship. So once I get it done, I'm going to put that up on there. And the reason why I'm not doing it now is because, and I'm not going to do a like full-on build stream of that, is because this is going to be a survival ship that I'm going to build. And survival ships tend to turn out different than ships you build in game. What the flip happened here? Okay, that was weird. Oh, jeez. Oh wait, I can remove that. I forgot. Silly badger. I forgot I could remove that. But yes, it's gonna make some serious looking cannons on this thing. So I've just been on there collecting stuff. I got the smiley face already. I've got a full set of badger armor, which I didn't know that was a thing on here. So those are two of the big ones that I was looking forward to getting, and they were absolutely just really cool to get my hands on that stuff. So, and I've been also found out there's a graffiti one and all that. I am really attempting to get all of them as much as I can. Most of the time, I've had the one deal. See, that's actually a lot nicer set of muzzle brakes on there. Now, there's just a way to smooth down this barrel a bit, but I don't think I'm going to get it to look any better than that. So we're going to continue to where we are now. And I need to open up a spot here. Is that full size block or a half block? I don't know. Is that a half block? It looks, yeah, it's a half block. Okay, so we're going to have to build a second thing here. I think about 2 blocks long, I would have to say. And then I'm going to have to use number 7 here to get this looking kind of good. Hopefully I can. Eh? No. All right. And now we can start putting you in. Because one of the things this tank has is this odd looking lip that comes up over the top of it. All right, there we go. We'll pull those out. Set that into position. And then we'll go back here. Really, I probably didn't even need those 2 blocks right there. Anywho, let's see what this looks like with this wicked upgrade on it. Oh yeah, that's looking better. That's looking meaner. So this will have to go all the way across. clearly. And then I need to figure out where those other two blocks are that were disconnected. Might need to bust. No, no, no. We'll do with. No, yeah. I need to take another one out because I'm gonna need to install that right there. There we go. Ah, okay. From Renegade Bundy. I haven't been able to change my suit color in the Pirate Survival, but that is a later change once we get a medical room. Nice. I've been doing more work on the gunship. Very good. Morgan Trial. Hello there. Hey there. How you doing? Renegade Bundy. The Claw. Yeah, I've wanted to. There have been some machinima ideas I've been coming up with that I want to possibly do at some point, but I got to figure out how to do them. Let me see here. What we got? Okay. Ah, I see how this is gonna work. So I not that one. I'll have to put that and I'll have to put that back in. Dear God, how would I do that? I remove way too much stuff right there. All right, two placeholders there and number 7. But yeah, let's see. How is this going up there? So I need a block there, there, like so, and then this is gonna have to come down to here, like so. And we just gotta get to this nice little corner piece here. Because there is this little lip thing out here on the front of the Mammoth that um, comes up and down. I don't think I'll have to do that all the way on the bottom, but it'll just have to be right. Ooh, that's going to be interesting right there. Hmm. Well, let's replace that with a straight up block. There. That shouldn't affect it. We'll see in a moment. That'll also be an issue right there if I don't fix it real quick. So we're just going to delete that block out of there. Okay, so from there, how far am I talking about? 4 blocks out. They're about 4 blocks out, and right about there. Let me look here. All right, 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2. And I may. If I remember correctly, it was those 2, and then the last block basically connected on top right about here, and there was about 3 of them that had to be removed. And there we go. We're ready to put the next set of that turret system on there. Now, whether that camera can see, well, the camera should see right over the top of it, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Yeah, I was thinking, if I ever did a machinima, one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to make a hand that you extended up, made of like, not rotors, but made of just hinges. I wanted it to come up, like wave at you. Then I wanted it to close itself into a fist, then extend its middle finger, and I had an entire idea for that to go down. Here's my response to your bloody back taxes. But we've got the cannon working like it's supposed to. I should have mirrored this. Let's go here, here, and here, and another one there. We'll have to also put one here and there, and I think that's it, isn't it? Doesn't go all the way down, does it? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, same thing. It's working out. We're getting there. Somehow, some way, it's getting there. Eh. Really? Okay, well, let's go from here. Oh, no. There we are. Now, wait a minute. I cut that off, didn't I? All right, we'll go from here. I'll need to put one more in there, won't I? That sucks. That sucks. But it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Sometimes things don't always work out. I think I can probably. Boom. Hey, that was a lot easier. Should do that next time. I didn't realize I could do all that. I know I could put tools in there, but I didn't know I could just. There we go. That's actually making things go a lot easier. And over. Boom. Wow, I actually got done quicker. Yeah, it's looking way beefier than before. She looks even more terrifying than the original, than with the original system that we had. Now let's go over here, and I want to redo these blocks here because those are acting a bit like. There we go. Just gotta go one. Nope, that's the wrong one. How'd I get there? Boom. Now the tank armor matches. That's looking good. We don't have that one weird looking lip underneath. Oh yeah, I probably need to put a piece of heavy armor right there. There's also going to be a basket back here somewhere, and I'm going to have to fill that with barrels and a bunch of other stuff and cover it. And we also need, while I'm at it, I'm just going to cut that off there because I'm going to have to put a hinge system in place so that I can drop a hatch right in there so it'll work out. I'd roll up to the IRS with this thing if it was real. Fun fact, there was a guy in my town who actually fought the IRS and won. And he never took him to court, which was the wildest part about that whole tale. So basically, he gets mad at the IRS. They come over and they basically take everything from him, being little shits that they are. They take everything he owns, and he decides that he's had enough. And he goes to the IRS building, and he shows up there, sits down in the foyer, and just waits. Like, doesn't do anything, doesn't cause a commotion, doesn't cause a stir. He does this for the first day, second day. Then, about the third day, while he's doing this nonsense, someone sees him and they're like, this guy looks like he needs help. We don't know what he's doing here. Let's talk to him. So they go over, and they're trying to be little ladies over at the IRS. They don't know. They know stuff's bad at the IRS. They don't realize how bad they're screwing people's lives yet. And one of the little ladies, she goes over there. She's like, "Can we help you, sir?" And he's like, "I'm so and so from Southeast Missouri. There's nothing y'all can help me with. You have," and his exact words after this are, "You took my home, you've taken my truck, and you've taken all the savings in my bank account. I decided now that you guys are just going to take my life, so I'm not going to eat nothing. I'm just going to starve to death here." And at that point, it was like, oh, okay. Like, oh no, we have a situation that just developed right here. It's not a very good situation either, but hey, here you are. You're stuck with him. And they the IRS really wants him to leave because he is bad publicity as people come in there and start asking, who's this old man? And then they have to explain that they've taken his property, and so the old man's decided he doesn't want to leave. Imagine how much fun that is. So while he's in there and they're dealing with it, the head of the IRS comes out. It's eventually it gets bad enough that the uh, the IRS starts getting phone call, or the government starts getting phone calls over this old man. Not from the IRS to get rid of him. The government's getting angry phone calls from people about how the IRS has mistreated this old man that's sitting out there to the point that he has nowhere to go, and everyone is getting really, really mad. And being government as it is, and politicians being slime balls, they all go, well, we need to do something stupid about this. They decide to make a political deal out of it. So now the IRS has a political problem, and this is back in the 1940s where they could really get bad with you. Okay, the government had a lot more leeway back then than they do now. Like they could get away with, like Waco was the very last time they got real antsy with somebody, and it didn't end well. They realized then we can't just go run people. Or you just can't go into the woods guns blazing against somebody and claim they're a terrorist anymore. We're going to get kickback from it. So, and forgive me, everyone, my nose is a little runny today. They when they get done dealing with his butt, what finally breaks everything is he's out there one day and the head of the IRS comes out. This is the head honcho, the big dog. And he comes out there and he goes, and he's this poor bastard. He's out there talking to the news media and he goes, "We really wish Mr. McGrath, I think was his name, we really wish that Mr. McGrath would just go home. You know, we'd like him to just go home and where he would be safe and taken care of, away from them, so they won't have any more political issues." And lo and behold, my dad said, out comes Mr. McGrath from the IRS place. He's been starving for like a week. He is frail. He is messed up. But he comes out there to the head of the IRS, grabs him by the shoulder with old man strength, jerks his ass around, puts a finger in his face, and says, "I can't go home, you stupid bastard, 'cause you took my home from me, you stupid fuck." And he starts tearing into this dude right there. And the head of the IRS is just, suddenly he nopes out. He's running inside, trying to get away from this old man. The whole press is out there. After that, IRS turned around and gave him everything back.
apologized to him, and they attempted to audit him later on, but they were a little more respectful about it. Sometimes, if you're willing to give up everything for a cause, you can win. Just remember that. Also, I am not. Also, I'm going to take the opportunity to say I am not suicidal in any way. Let's see here. Uh, hmm. How did I do that on the other side? I'm sitting here talking about screwing over the IRS. I didn't realize how I did that. Uh, oh, okay. Yeah, I see what I did there. I need this piece. I see what I did. Like I said, details, details. That's what we're working on today. And yes, I am going to put some kind of skirt system on this so that it won't, a shell can't just take out that section there. We are going to add some skirting. But yeah, he got in there and basically whooped the crap out of him. And needless to say, they didn't have any more problems out of him. Dad said that wasn't the last time he'd done something to him. They got some cocky young guy one time who went over there, decided that if he could get over there and get a hold of Mr. McGrath's wife, and he decided he was just going to be mean to her and made her cry one day. And so Mr. McGrath goes on back down to the IRS building and apparently grabs this young IRS agent by the necktie, drags him up. My dad knows this because he knew a guy that worked over there. He said, "Man," he said, "this old man walks in there, doesn't say a damn word, just grabs the IRS agent by the necktie, jerks him up off the seat so that he is balancing on the tops of his thighs, trying to hold on to his tie." And Mr. McGrath goes, "If you ever," he said, "you can talk to me, we can have a civil conversation. But if you ever disrespect my wife and make her cry like that again, I'm going to come down here and beat on your head until it fits through this necktie." After that, there were no more problems. There was yes, sir, no, sir. We sit down. We're going to talk real nice with you. People sit back and talk like, the IRS that used to when I was a kid, everyone said the IRS was the most terrifying thing in the world. And then I found out that there was another group called Scientology. And they basically had made the IRS kowtow. And I kind of looked at my dad later and I said, "You do realize that a fake religion has basically made the IRS bend over backwards for them, right?" And he goes, "No, it's not." We got to looking into it. And he goes, "I can't believe this. Why are we paying taxes?" Now, I'll tell you the best thing I can see now. The thing that I found that made me laugh out loud today. I watch Sargon of Akkad every so often. Okay. There are some political streamers I watch, political people. And I'm watching one of his streams or one of his things. And I am witnessing. Oh, there's that peace app. I was wondering where that went. Can I delete you? There we go. And I watched a Brit start losing his mind on the internet. And he was asking the question, "Why am I paying taxes?" And I'm just sitting here going, "Yes, yes. Let the hate flow through you, British man. Feel the dark side taking hold of you." I'm here for it today now. If the Europeans are getting to the point where they're sick and tired of paying taxes, I'm all for it. Y'all just need to get more angst. I have no problem with that. Have fun. That's all I gotta say. It has just, but I was sitting there watching him just like fume over where his tax dollars were going, and I was just thinking, yes, yes, let the hatred flow, Brit. Let it flow. Let it consume you. That's what we did. That's what we did the first time this happened. Just let it happen, buddy. Seriously, we revolted against Britain over this is Morgan Trial. Seriously, we revolted over Britain over a 3% tax. Now pay 40 to 50% in taxes. Most, actually, the lower income class does not pay that. The problem with the United States right now is the tax bracket system. For those of y'all in other countries that don't know what I'm talking about, in the United States, we have a tax bracket. And the tax bracketing system runs like this. If we have taxes in our country. And one of the things they do is they charge you a different tax rate. I don't know if it's in any other European countries they do this. It may be a thing. But what they do is it's if you make a certain amount of money, you will get charged. If you make more than a certain amount of money, you will really get charged. And the problem with this entire system is, let me see here. How close am I to that? I got to make sure I'm not too close to it. Yeah, that'll be too close. All right, well, divvy this section over here, and that should give me enough room to not hit that. Booyah. Heck yeah, there we go. Doesn't that look pretty, y'all? By the way, and what happens is if you make a certain amount of money, my cousin found this out the hard way. God bless his soul. He goes in there and he does the whole taxes thing, and he gets done 1 year, and he's like, I've made so much. He was bragging to us about it. He said, man, I've made so much money. I can actually do something really cool for once with the money I've made. I was like, oh, you can. He's like, yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking, I don't know if you're going to be able to, but all right, if you can do it, do it. Lo and behold, he come back later and he was like, they hit me with more taxes this year. I said, oh, really? He goes, yeah. And he jumped, I want to say 10% in taxes from his tax bracket, which means he had a successful business and he had to retool that entire business to accompany the new tax hike that happened to him. And he, after that happened, was unable to, like, his business kind of stagnated for a bit. And just so y'all know, he pretty much he had to basically put his business in a holding point because it got to the point that higher tax bracket hitting him ended up jacking with a whole lot of other stuff. So it made doing other things more difficult. Uh, the thing that needs to happen in the United States, and I'll tell you what has to happen: fair tax this bitch from point A to point B. Because if you can fair tax it, let's see, success is punished by the taxes. Yeah, um, you're it's hard to get a business going. You almost have to, if you get close to that tax bracket, you've got to sit there and plan on your taxes uh, being taken out so heavily that you're going to have difficulty making ends meet the next pay period. And I'm going to say it right now, it sucks. It really does suck because you don't have, like, you need that money. You've made plans for that money. At that certain tax bracket, you've got to put your business on hold. And so for 1 year, you've got to see if you can somehow budget away. The only way I can see around it is that when you get close to that tax point, save a whole bunch. Just you have to save enough money that you have to hamper the ability of your business to keep going. In other words, you have to save money that you normally would invest in the business to make it grow faster, and you've got to halt the growth of your business at that point, which really jacks with things when you stop and think about it, because then it's like, oh, well, huh, now there's no way I can do this or that or anything else. You're basically screwed at that point. See if I can find a half block here or a half panel. I think I've got one. But yeah, it is one of the tax bracket system is the biggest detriment to the American economy right now. It is, in all intents and purposes, it is one of the most socialist pieces of bullcrap that we have at the moment. And if we could get rid of it, that would be awesome. But it's kind of hard to tell a bunch of commies, hey, we're going to get rid of a tax bracket system that because we think it's hurting the economy. And those damn commies are just going to sit there and go, "Oh, you don't care about the poor or nothing like that." It's like that ain't it at all, dude. We'd like to get the poor out of the situation that they're in, but morons like some idiots out there don't want to do it because they don't understand economics. Part of the reason communism doesn't work is because communism doesn't understand basic wealth. How in the heck did I do that? I think I'm trying to. Oh, can I squeeze in here? Oh, this is not going to work. Let's crouch down here, see if I can get this piece in. Oh, come on. Come on. I'm going to get up here and get stuck. You watch. Um, yep. I don't think I need to be up there. So, my body simply being in there was about to clang the system out. Mm. Ah, there we go. Do that there. And do that. I remember when y'all said you was worried about that stray round hitting that area. Well, now it is armored up to all heck. It's going to be really hard to hit that section. That's going to be hard. So yeah, the thing about a fair tax is, and I'll actually tell you what. Let's explain this in a simple formation, in a simple format over here. Chalkboard time. Let's see. Do we have power? Yes, we have power. Let me grab a whiteboard here. Come on, where's my stuff? Let's see. Where is the television screens? Let's throw that up here. Because I feel the need to do this. Why? Because there will be some idiot online that doesn't understand it. So, sitting here looking at it, there was a point in time, and I'll explain why it doesn't actually work. Warren Buffett, at one point in time, WB up here, stated that he pays less in taxes than WB's secretary up here. So Warren Buffett said that he paid less in taxes than his secretary at one point in time. So let's math this out and be very, very fucking generous right now. Current tax code, let's say she makes, or let's say Warren Buffett here makes about, we'll just say, whoops, put a decimal there. We don't need that. About $1 million a year. Okay. We'll be generous about this. We'll say he makes about that much. Tack a dollar sign on there. Let's say his secretary she makes about, let's say, $100,000, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what he's making. Under the current tax code, and let's be generous here to Warren Buffett so that he looks like he has a good tax system going on. Warren Buffett says that he makes less in taxes. So if we pull off, say, he loses about
me find the percentages sign here. Dear Lord. They charge him about 50% on his taxes. I probably have that wrong, so don't worry about it, guys. It'll make sense here in a minute. And let's say at her tax bracket, she is at 20%. We're using nice whole numbers here. She should be paying in taxes. Let me get the signs up here. $20,000 a year, which is not a lot, 20%. Warren Buffett should be paying $500,000 a year. But stop and think about something. He's talking about the current tax code with all the deductions and everything. You have to have the deductions because you were pulling so much out of these businesses that if they can justify what their business is and business expenditures, then they should be able to get a deduction. I use deductions when I use taxes. I can tell you right now, there's a reason that billionaires don't put money into schools to teach you about tax deductions because if you knew them, you'd be able to do a lot better. The problem is it is such a convoluted system that a person who is working and starting a business is doing so much, they don't have time to work the system. So the system is geared exactly against the person trying to make taxes. Going on in here. So Warren Buffett pays less than his secretary, who, if she is making, as we're using rice whole numbers here, she's making $100,000 a year. She's paying $20,000. This bastard up here who's making $1 million is not paying enough. Doesn't matter what this number becomes. It doesn't matter if this number is 1 million or 1 billion or 1 trillion. Warren Buffett will still pay less in taxes than his secretary will. So, how do you fix this system and make it fair? Instead of doing the system like that, you go to a fair tax system where Warren Buffett makes $1 million a year, and Warren Buffett's secretary makes $100,000 a year. How do we make this better? Well, our percentages this time around, we're going to do a fair tax system. The key factor to a fair tax is we have zero deductions. There is not a little thing in there that allows you to deduct stuff off your taxes. You are simply charged a flat rate across the board all the time. This is why when you talk about a tax like this, nobody likes hearing about it. And it would pay for everything because remember, you're not getting $500,000 for every $1 million Warren Buffett makes. In fact, we're actually pretty generous right here. He's probably paying somewhere in the realm of almost 60% taxes, and that's what his tax bracket is at. Now, the socialist will sit there and say, well, it's a 60%, it's 60, 70%. We were generous right here saying at 50%. And I'm telling you right now, Warren Buffett says up here, he pays less in taxes than his secretary does. Okay? So let's just start on the fair tax at 10% across the board. Straight up, 10%. So Warren Buffett pays $100,000. There are no deductions to this $100,000. He is still paying more than his secretary did back when her tax was 20%. So, if Warren Buffett, like I said before, with deductions, Warren Buffett pays less than his secretary does because he can accrue all these deductions. He can nickel and dime the system to death. It doesn't matter what this number is. He will still have deductions and he will go to Congress and he will send people because he's got the capital to lobby. Warren Buffett's secretary
does not have the capital to lobby Congress to help her. The entire citizenry of the United States do not have the capital to lobby Congress. So he pays $100,000. Yes, he's not paying the 500,000, but you're not getting 500,000 to begin with. And he's not paying the same amount his secretary is. So you are actually getting more money out of Warren Buffett. What does the secretary pay though at a flat tax? She pays $10,000. She is paying less in taxes and you are getting more out of him and there are zero deductions. Your deductions are zero. That's what this entire system is predicated on. That's how the fair tax works. Your and I'm probably going to butcher this. I probably spelled that out wrong, but zero. You don't get any deductions with a fair tax. You don't need them. Because, like I said, Warren Buffett, everyone keeps 90% of their money. The government gets 10%. Y'all want to know just how terrifying 10% is? That's what mega churches run on. They have some people who give a whole lot, but the tithe of a church is 10% across the board. The bare minimum you give to the church is 10%. That is your tithe. Anything more than 10% is a charity to the church. I mean, God's technically obligated to bless you if you give more, but that is only if you can. God does say that if you give everything you've got, like there are things in the Bible where God says people who still tithe, even though it will hurt them, they tithe the best. It really doesn't matter how much you're going extra you're going to give. It's if you give it regularly, regardless. You're supposed to put your faith in God when you do that. This is how this entire system. And yes, I know I have misspelled this entirely, but I have an education system where Warren Buffett has made sure that I don't get educated very well. This is why none of you know how to do finance. This is why none of you know how to do taxes. This is why none of you are taught how to do this stuff. Because just like with slavery, if the intended target is ignorant of the system and ignorant of how to work the system, then the system controls the intended target. That's how this works. But like I said, Warren Buffett under the zero deduction system, I'm going to remove that because I'm getting tired of looking at my own spelling. But now you have Warren Buffett paying more money. Wait, how'd that happen? How did I get a lowercase b there? Then Warren Buffett's secretary. She's not paying as much. She's paying fairly. Now, look at this system right here. I was trying to put something in there to make that work, but this is, we'll just say with D, with deductions and no deductions. So this is what you're dealing with. You're not truly getting $500,000 out of Warren Buffett because, like I said up here, well, Warren Buffett says he pays less in taxes than his secretary does. Now, on paper, it looks like he should pay more. But socialism never, but the socialists who love the tax bracket system and say, well, it makes the rich guy pay their fair share, they're a bunch of idiots because he's not paying this. What is it Warren Buffett says? I paid less in taxes than my secretary. Okay. It is on the internet. Look it up on YouTube. Look up Warren Buffett says he pays less in taxes than his secretary. I'm not going to pull the video up. Well, you know what? F it. Hang on a minute. I am going to pull the video up. Let me look here. Let's see if I can find it if they haven't taken it off YouTube. Let's pull it up here. Let's see if I can find it here. See if I can find it here. Now, hold on here. Get through this stupid commercial. Y'all can probably hear this through my headset.
If I could also get your
Now, give me a moment here. Kick on display capture here for a moment. So y'all can hear this
thoughts
nonsense.
on the dividend tax cut. If by some miracle the politicians think logically and get rid of the dividend taxes, would Berkshire ever pay a dividend?
The tax on dividends, uh, I've used this illustration before, but I'm paying about the same percentage of my income to the federal government as my secretary does. Now, I pay more in income tax rates than she does. I pay a higher marginal
Guarantee
tax
that's
rate
not true.
by some margin than she does, but she pays way more in Social Security taxes than I do
Aha.
because I only pay on the first, whatever it is, 70 or 80,000 of income. And
So there you go. Like I said, he pays less than his secretary. And if he's sitting there telling you he pays less than his secretary there, you can be damn certain he's paying less across the board. With a fair tax system, you just haul off and just do that and just do it and just run. That's how the system works. Fair tax, you just take all the taxes that you currently got going and you just pay for everything with 10%. Now he'll sit there and say, "Oh, I pay more in income tax." Guarantee he doesn't. There are deductions that I have doing carpentry that are legal that if used properly, you can get less in taxes. It is not an impossibility to get less than what the other guy is paying. Like one guy once said, there is a tax system for the rich, and there's a tax system for or no, there's a tax code for the educated and a tax code for the uneducated. And the uneducated always get screwed. So I said a fair tax across the board. Warren Buffett will still keep a lot of his money. Yeah, the millionaire keeps a lot of money. And that's the one thing that the socialist always says. They're like, "Oh, wait a minute. He's not. He's only paying like $100,000." That's true, but you are getting $100,000. And when he says paying on income tax, let me tell you something. You can go into the tax code system and you can, and there are rich guys who do this crap where they go in, they buy property and they say, well, yeah, I had some income tax, but that just went into property over there. There's no way I can do that. I can't pay that tax right now. My money's my income just immediately got. There are deductions if you buy into property. There are deductions. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm telling you that with Orwell, you should read Rich Dad Poor Dad. The moment you start reading that, you realize, oh, most people make their money on debt, and the debt enables them to move around the tax code. If you remove it to where you just say, no, you're just going to pay no matter what, this is the tax. It's a straight flat tax. And then the second thing to that is like, what is it? Ron Paul always says, if you get the spending under control in Congress, and that's the second miracle you have to do. You have to get Congress's spending under control so that they'll stop going in there and blowing every single dime you've got. You have to set up a system to where if there's any money left over, that goes in for the next fiscal year. But that comes from someone actually going in there and telling everyone in Congress, look, you're not passing any more pork. If you stopped them from passing pork barrel bills and they had to put one item before Congress, there's a lot of shit that we pay for as a country would not pass Congress. It's just stupid. Nobody wants to put their name to it. The reason why we have crap like that is because some idiot goes in there and they throw a whole bunch of shit in there and say, well, I see, we got this big giant bill. It gives everyone everything. And that's one of the things that people tell you all the time is, oh, well, this big old giant bill right here will pay for all this other stuff. Don't you want to pay for some stuff? And that's like, not really. I want you people to stop. Quote Sargon this morning, I want you to leave me alone. And I was just looking at him like, hell yeah, brother. Just let the hate flow. My British friend, let it flow. I can get behind a Brit when he starts screaming, leave me alone. I can get behind that. But like I said, that's the big issue with taxes right now. Okay, why is this not connecting there? There we go. But yeah, enough about political ramblings and stuff like that. But as I said, if you would just do that one little thing, just shut down people just spending money and then start working on budgeting everything, make sure everything you could pay for whatever you put in there. Like you could fix the country's entire budgetary crisis in a matter of days. And I mean days. It would be over with because a lot of problems that we have, like I said, come from spending too much money and the way the tax code is set up. It's not set up for you to win. That's why I've often said that the big problem, and I tell people this all the time when they start griping about the tax code and everything. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get nowhere. They're like, we need to tax the rich or some nonsense. Like, no, you're not going to get there taxing the rich because if you look at, and here's another thing, if you look at high schools, if you think about who is it that's in the high schools? Well, it's the socialists. They're not there by accident. As I said, they're being used by the very same. In fact, there's something that the socialists do all the time. They protect Henry Rockefeller. You know what? One of the things they say about Henry Rockefeller? Oh, he wasn't because there's understanding that Henry Rockefeller actually coined the phrase. What was it? Fossil fuel. And almost every socialist and communist out there will immediately jump up and say, "No, he didn't. He didn't coin the phrase fossil fuel. You're just being a conspiracy guy." And I'm sorry. I'm on a roll today. Okay, I got a happy little moment today where one of my British friends, or not my British friend, I don't know Sargon. What was I thinking? Where Sargon, and I've watched him for years ever since the Gamergate thing happened, and I'm sitting here watching this British guy that I've watched for years because I remember when he would sit back and say, "Yeah, we need those taxes." He was a tax cuck for a bit, and now he's like, "I'm sick and tired of paying this shit," and I'm like, "Yes, do it." Yes, just keep channeling that energy and things will start changing, buddy. More people did that. One of the things I'm actually really happy for is everyone in the country going, we need a tax. They want to do a tax protest. And I'm like, oh boy, yes, just 30%. That's all you need. People sit back and say, oh, a tax thing won't have any effect. 30%, the IRS cannot jail anybody. And if they start taking everybody's money, they start seizing everything. Holy shit, you have an army almost immediately. They have to really rethink the strategy at that point. We can't just yank people's crap away from them now because they are really going to get pissed off if we just start taking their shit. And that's where the IRS wins. All that nonsense wins if they can get you to think, well, if I do this, and it's a legit fear. I'm not going to lie. It's a legit fear. The idea that you and your family could be homeless. That's what they're playing. That's what they play on. That's the game. The game is if you are, and that's the game with just about every government on the planet. The game that they play is, well, you don't want to lose your family's livelihood. Why, if you don't pay this year, here's the thing, I do pay my taxes. I'm not going to sit here and act like I am better than anyone else. Okay. I ain't gonna sit there and say, well, y'all just being a bunch of pussies and not doing anything. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I understand the fear because the IRS has all because regardless of what has happened to the IRS recently, they still don't care if they can mess you up. The plan is to scare you into paying those taxes. And I'm one of those guys that sits there and looks at it and says, if enough people would actually get off their butts and do something, we wouldn't have this issue no more. They would actually change the system and make it more fair. But it is a losing battle until people decide they've had enough. It is a losing battle. So, as I've said before, I sit back and I wait. Because one thing that I have noticed over the last several years, and I don't agree, I'm not one of these people that just worships Trump. Okay. I like a lot of things Trump has done. There are things that I will get angry with Trump over. One of them is Pam Bondi sitting in there screwing with all my shit. Like the other day, the Supreme Court has already had a case come forward. Okay, this is how dumb this woman is. We've already had a Supreme Court case on knives in the United States, and they were declared bearable arms in the U.S. Okay, just seriously, all stop. They've been declared bearable arms. Pam Bondi comes along and is like, well, no, they're not really bearable arms. And I'm like, woman, what the hell? She's actually, and she's not going on like machetes or something. She went straight to the folding knives. That's the fun part with that one. She didn't stop at, these big machetes, the zombie knives. No, she said a simple folding knife was not protected under the Constitution of the United States. And I just have to turn and look at Trump and say, this is your dog. You need to get control of it because it's getting out of control right now. Badger tank time. Yes. Renegade Bundy. I bet even with a fair tax, there will be loopholes which might lead to the same issue. Okay. It is what I was saying. Yeah, the loopholes are the big problem. But the thing about the loopholes, and this is what people don't understand, the loopholes are there because, and it's not really loopholes, they're deductions. And the the argument for the deductions that comes from the rich fat cat at Washington does actually help a younger business. You can get some help from those. The problem is it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be sitting there trying to nickel and dime to freedom, to financial freedom. And that's what a lack of taxation does. It is financial freedom. I'm not going to F with these back here that much. For one thing, with this thing coming bearing down the problem, if something can get past it, we're not doing a good enough job. So that's not going to be a problem I'm going to worry about. We've got this big system here. We've added the blockbuster muzzles on the end of it, which just look incredible. We've got this nice muzzle brake system happening. We need to add a couple of details to the side here, and I think I'm going to do some stuff to this edge here. Let me see. I think, let me replace a few of these here. Yeah, as I said, the big issue with a lot, like your entire tax code being an issue, those deductions are what hurts you. You solve that deduction problem, and like I said, you can't just go in there, throw the deductions off, and go cold turkey. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to provide a system that the average guy can do because the moment you implement a system like that, the first thing the rich guy is going to do, and it's predictable. Same thing with strategy. If you're going to outsmart a dude, you've got to know what he's thinking and how he's going to do it. Like Sun Tzu says, if you know the enemy and yourself, you will not fear 100 defeats or being defeated in 100 battles. The first thing the rich guy is going to do is he's going to run to Congress and say, "Oh, look, all these people are suffering." Or much worse, he's going to go in there and go, "Oh, all y'all are suffering. Let's overthrow the guys that did this to you and go back to the deduction system." First thing that happens, George Soros does this all the time. When someone does something he doesn't like, he starts looking into revolutions. He has stated on many a times they likes messing with revolutions. Yeah, you're getting a different Badger today. I've just been watching and on the system, and I have just been joyously enjoying what I've been seeing. It's been great. I've got to watch today as a bunch of people start screaming for things I have been saying that we need to do. I have heard elderly people say for a long time, "Yeah, we need to do this, we need to do that," but you're never going to see that happen. Yeah, we're finally figuring out how much is enough in this country. That's the cool thing. Bondi is a disgrace to the office. Yes. Yes. Renegade Bundy, a lot of my generation are just getting sick of all this shit, and there has been numerous cases where Gen Z have taken governments to court and won. Yeah, that's the thing. Gen Z, I've talked to guys in the military. Gen Z will they've sat back and said, yeah, Gen Z just doesn't take shit. They're a generation that doesn't take shit. As far as they're concerned, if there's a problem, they're gonna figure. They know a way of fixing it. There's a way to fix it. There's a way to make it stop, and they're gonna do it. And I look back. This is why the whole 6-7 thing doesn't bother me because I've told my kid. I said if that she goes, Dad, well, if you ever got three wishes, what would you wish for? I said first wish that I get as a human being. I'm going to ask the genie to raise the speed limit on all highways by 2 miles. That way, when the old boomers go down the road who accepted all this crap, they can sit there and hear their grandkids in the back going 6-7, 6-7 the whole time. The only reason I tolerate that crap is because it pisses the people off that I don't like half the time. I will make it worse. Make it worse. Let the kids just annoy the crap out of them. What do y'all think about this track detail I did right here? Adding that little, cutting that little rift out in the side makes it gives it a bit more of like a old school Transformer Devastator look. Pretty cool looking. Dog Soldier taper with slope blocks. National sales tax is a libertarian movement for a while. Yeah, the sales that's basically what the fair tax would be. It would be a 10% tax, and it wouldn't even be income. It'd just be on if you spent money. So the only thing you would pay, it would be on food, it would be on everything. And this is also another talking point that commies will do. They'll be like, well, if you do that, then these poor people are going to be taxed. Yeah, they're going to be taxed. People are going to get taxed, but here's the kicker. Yeah, average citizens are going to get taxed when they go buy food, but that is pretty much a temporary tax right in there. Okay, you are only paying a 10% markup on food, period. It's not as big as you think it is, considering if you look at the long run, you are actually saving tons of money. It's like you're still paying the tax, okay? Sales tax is still being paid, all right? But instead of you paying the IRS, that's another thing. If you get the sales tax system out of the way, you can then completely obliterate the IRS. That's several billion dollars you're not spending every year. So the government is getting rid of a relatively very hated group in the government. and they are getting far more money in the process. The problem is they just don't want to do it. All right, let's put this little slope section in here. Yeah, here's something we can all talk about. Yeah, like I said, that is the thing that has gotten me on this kick right now is I've just been watching people this entire time, and mostly politics. Anything I do on the channel, politics wise, normally I prefer not to talk about politics because there's usually not any good news. Well, we got good news today. We got people now getting stupid, and it's great when people get stupid because sometimes things get done. Just abolishing the income tax would see a massive boost in prosperity. Oh yeah, and here's the other thing that people don't realize: if you eliminate a lot of the reason why people are on welfare is because they've been taxed out of society. Before you sit there and say, "Oh, these people are just lazy," no, a lot of them have been taxed out of society. I understand some people when they sit back and say, "Why should I do anything?" Because the government's just going to take the money from me anyhow. Ooh, how are we going to do this? This is going to be interesting. Our neighbors have two dogs. They are wonderful, cute little animals, but dear God, they bitch all night long. And that's what they're doing around. I don't know what they're barking at. There's an animal or something bothering them. And I hear them outside and I think, dear God, boys, if I could, I would take care of that problem for you today. Today we would take care of that problem if it would shut them up. But they are really good dogs. They're one of those. Yeah, they're good boys. They're good puppers. It's that one and that one. Let's go ahead and pull this around. Like I said, normally if there's politics are depressing. I normally don't talk about them. But today I've been watching people just lose their dadgum mind on the internet, and I find it glorious. I find it great. And the real reason things have gotten so out of control that people are finally at the point of I don't care anymore. And I love it when people get to the point of I don't care anymore because things will start to change. And that's what needs to happen. We're a country right now. Um, say what you will about some conservative commentators, like take Benny Johnson, for instance. And yeah, I do listen. I will stop every so often before anyone gets onto me on the other side. Look, I do stop every so often and listen to Hassan. Okay. Part of the reason was I do that because we used to have clan members where I was. And my dad said, if you have someone that you think might be an enemy, you need to sit down and study their crap so you know how to deal with them later. That's one of the reasons why I watch other people's stuff. I like to know what they think. If you know how they think, like I said originally, Sun Tzu, if you know your enemy, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. I'm remembering my art of war again. But yeah, so it's not me just sitting over here just gooning on just conservative stuff. I do listen to the other side. I do take into consideration what they have to say. Sometimes they have good ideas. I've said this about I've said this before, and sometimes people get mad at me for it, but it is a true story. Right before we went into Iraq, the Democrats actually had a very good idea. I know some people are going to say, Badger, how could you possibly say that the Democrats would have a very good idea? Hear the idea first. Their idea was if we were going into Iraq, this was Bush Jr., wasn't Bush Sr. We were going back into Iraq, and the Democrats got together. A little bit of detail right there just adds to the tank. They sat back and went to the president of the United States and they said, "Hey, if we're going to go back into this stupid war and we're going to go fight this nonsense, let's do it properly. Let's actually get something out of it." And the Democrats had a plan. Their plan was, if we go into Iraq, the United States was also going to send the IRS as well. And this was their plan. The IRS was going to go in, and every time a man got killed, every bullet that was shot, every bomb that was dropped, we would itemize what all that was worth. And when the war was over with, the Iraqis would pay the United States in free oil until all the resources that we had spent monetarily were paid back in free oil. And they also tacked on some interest on that. I am all for this. Hell, I don't care where the government goes. If you want to go blow up a country, that's fine. So long as our guys, if they die, their family members have a chance of getting some of that money back. I don't have a problem at the end of the day. Now, call me a warmonger if you want. Say bootlicker. I don't really care. Because that plan was actually a really good one. If we're going to go free your country, if we're going to go over there and go to Kuwait and stop some madman from taking over your country, and our men are going to die for it, you should pay for it. Whatever those soldiers are worth in training, that money, and I'll go one step further with it. I think that whatever our soldiers are worth training wise, that money should be tacked on to whatever the family is going to get in the package. That country should pay for it. And if that soldier gets killed over in a foreign field, guess what? Iraq is going to pay for it. If we went into Ukraine, Ukraine would pay for our soldiers. They're going to pay for everything. I'm all for us getting something out of it, so long as we're the benefactors. This nonsense of going over there and just wasting blood, wasting men, wasting time, wasting troops is stupid. Should not be done. I'm going to add a couple of smaller pieces on here. And again, once again, I'm going to tell y'all I'm sorry because it's not my intention to make this a political stream because it's normally not. But I'm in a mood today, and I'm sorry for that. Like I said, the major things that could be changed, if you could make those little changes, it'd solve a whole lot of problems. And Renegade Bundy here is like, let it all burn. Nah, you don't have to let it burn. You let it burn, then the real bad guys win. And you end up in Hassan Piker's world, and that's not going to be very fun for anybody. Are you? I'll say this: you are going to have to really rip and tear the system. You're going to have to tear some stuff out of it. I've done construction my whole life. Whenever you restore anything, and that's what you're doing, you want to restore the country to a point where to a country where it's fair for everyone. You're going to have to tear some stuff apart, and you're not going to know how bad it is until you get started. That's why we can't get nothing done, because the people who are in charge are scared shitless of going in there and fixing it. They're scared to death of, oh my gosh, what happens if we do start solving these problems? And then you've got some crazy jokers in there that are like, yeah, I don't care if the problems get solved as long as I make my money. See how this looks. So add a little bit of beefiness to it. I don't know, it might be too much. She looks at a distance. Oh, that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, we're going to go with that. But yeah, if you go the burn it all down route, that almost always inevitably leads to communism because they're the first ones that they're just chomping at the bit, ready to take over. And once they take over, you don't ever go back. Not easily, at least. And there are some people in government that are accelerationists, in my opinion, who do want to take you to that point. Because there's always that idiot out there that thinks they're going to be part of the club when everything goes to shit. And they're always surprised. That's the only good thing about a country going communist. You get to see the people who helped send you there. They get they get sent there too. Suddenly money doesn't mean shit. They're just looking around Pikachu faced, going, what the hell? This is not how it's supposed to go down. That's the only good thing about it, is they get to pay. And ultimately, it is their own damn fault. But you don't want to go that route because that's the only good thing that you, like I said, it's the only good thing you're going to get out of that situation. But as I said, it's been fun all day watching people online, seeing especially the whole fraud system that's going on over there. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know family members who will go into Minnesota and just start screwing those people out of money that Waltz and all of them just doesn't know. I know people who will do that. Oh, that'll be awesome if that ever happened. Well, let's see here. What other details could we add to this thing? I don't know what I could do here. Mostly, we're going to have to do some paint job stuff. Oh, get on your Morgan trial again. I didn't see the first one. Just abolish the income tax will be a massive boost to in prosperity. Let it all burn down. Okay, yeah. If you're saying that, yeah, burn the tax code down currently as it is because it's not helping anyone. It's not making life easier on the citizen, and it's definitely not helping people in the uh, outside the system. It's actually just creating a lot of animosity. Now, here's the problem I have: the tank barrels are so big that now the tank skids are so detailed that I feel like I got to do more to the barrels to make them all work good. I don't know what I could do to these to make it look good. Probably gonna leave it as is. I'll darken it or something like that. Let's see. I've got enough detail up here on the top turret. That's not going to have any issues. I'm going to add like a basket on the back here and maybe extend it from there out. So that looks good. The tracks are looking really nice. Let me see. I kind of want to almost want to add something that'll stick out here. Make it look like it's a little heavier built. Let's look over here. Let's look at these other tanks I've got. So I have a bunch of them out here. Hope I'm not getting sick. That will suck. Now this might be interesting. Got these nice plates right here. Let's try something like that. Now, how did they do that exactly? That's going to be a lot of harder armor. It's going to weigh this track down a little bit. Do I have two spaces that I can make that work with? Let's pull this out and take a look. Okay, we're going to have to... Let's just throw up. And we'll do one of these every so many feet. And I'm going to add a small block here. I'm going to temp these in 3 plates. What do I want to write? How high do I want this to go? She's just getting bigger, boys. She's just getting bigger. All right, now let's grab this heavy armor block here. Oh, yes. That's a lot more detail. We go. Looks like a little bit of reactive armor or some type of armor plate on the side. It's not a whole lot higher. I could probably take. I don't know. Could I double that up? I could double that right there. I think. Let's run back here and try this differently here. We'll do a different system right here where I'll go one block lower. Okay, we have all that there. Let's see. With 2 points of contact. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me see how they did on the Abrams. Okay, yeah. Let's try that on the side here instead of the other way. So we're basically just going to do that. And that, which doesn't provide much more protection onto the damn thing as the original one did. Well, let's see what happens once I get the one blocks of stuff on it. But yeah, I really hate the fact that it got kind of heavy tonight. Because it's not what y'all signed up for, was this. Let me see here. I actually have an idea here. Let's throw that in. And then we'll throw that in here. Because normally I don't run this thing as a political channel. I really don't. I don't prefer it to be a political channel. Let's yank those off here while I'm at it. As entertaining as it probably was. Oh, there we go. That's looking better. So maybe that's all we got to do. Just yank that loose. Do that right there. Well, let's see. Which one do y'all think looks better? I'm leaning more towards the back one. And that is making that sucker look a little beefier. She is looking a bit chunkier. I think we'll go with this. Which means I need to take... no. Let's just... That was not the intended. How did I do that? Well, it is mostly these one blocks. So, oh no, I can't use these. Those are light armor blocks. God dang it. Boom. There we go. Okay. All right. Get all that figured out here. Oh, wait. Full homer. Doot. Doot. Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened there. Ah, don't worry. We'll get it all fixed here in just a second. Let me grab some more light armor blocks. This is just one of those things that's going to take a little bit of time. That's all. All right. Okay. Put that here, here. Also, quick question to those that don't participate in the A Pirate's Life episodes. How are y'all enjoying that? Because I feel like I've got an opportunity here and I've got a bit of an audience. I'd like to do a little bit of polling. I'd like to know how people are liking that particular series. Because it seems to be getting a following now. And my hope with that is that it will go somewhere good. At least that's what I'm hoping. You guys will have something you enjoy for a little bit. I don't know. I like that concept. I just wish I could find a way to beef it up. Well, at least anything hitting this will give extra protection to the wheels. The what are they? The axle will have more protection now as it's on there. I'm not going to put any on this side because that's going to be kind of pointless, in my opinion. We're going to keep working on this end, though. It's right. All right. Eh? Did I not fix this already? I swear to God, I just repaired this at the beginning of the dadgum series. Or at the beginning of the live stream. What the hell? While I'm at it, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way too. Work on both of them at the same time. That's right, we're going to try and get some stuff done today, folks. Some real fun today. There's that and that. All right, let's keep going. Because I have enjoyed the whole Pirates Life thing. It's been fun to do it. Getting everybody together. I do think we are eventually probably going, either I'm going to buy a server that we can work on, or I'm going to break down and beg Gomer to help us with a server. I know nothing about running servers, all right? I would like to run a server for the membership, though. Set it up, throw some mods on it, and let y'all just go to town. That is something I would love to do on this game. The problem, I am not too I am not too confident I can maintain the capital on that. I'm having to look at the budgetary restraints on something like that. Oh, no. Yep. Oh, what? I didn't put that there. Really? There are two types of detail blocks in this game. Ones that make cuts and ones that make tiny details. And those make some pretty good details right there. Makes the armor look like it makes this thing look bigger than normal now looking at it, because now you have what looks like armor plates or even reactive armor, and it looks like we just don't have enough reactive armor to make this thing. Wait, what the fuck? Okay. So, y'all are going to love this. This is not the right tank. Feel free to laugh, because this is not the right tank. Remember when I said I thought I fixed that? Yeah, I did. I fixed it over here. This is the tank that we worked on. I didn't realize we've done some serious work to this. We haven't to this one. Oh, dadgummit. All right, here's what we're going to do. Yeah, mortgage call. What? Yes. This I know this because note the barrels on how they look on this one. We have beefified the barrels on this one. This is the tank we were supposed to work on. This is what I'm supposed to be putting this reactive freaking armor on, and I put it on this one over there. I have too many damn tanks out here in this. What are we going to call this? What is a group of tanks called? It's column? Yeah, in this column that I've got out here of just random tanks at random intervals, and I've accidentally just put the wrong upgrade onto the wrong freaking tank, and the right tank is right over here. That's why it looked so weird when I was looking at the damn thing. Okay, I've got an idea on how to fix this. It ain't going to be pretty. Yes, feel free to laugh. Feel free to laugh. This is my fucking fault. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just this. Aha! Success. Now, all I need is just copy that. And we're going to go over here and just do some copy paste. True grunts and crafts right now, folks. Boom. Look at that. Some things just work out. But that was my one inkling. Remember I said I thought I fixed this already, and I did. I did fix it. It was that tiny little node right back here, and I fixed that SOB. And I am really pissed at that.
Morgan Trial up platoon. Renegade Bundy. Yeah, it's an armored column. That is pretty funny. Clean up. Clean up. What you, yeah, clean up, yo. Clean up your world, you filthy bastard.
Yeah, I should. I really should. I need to start deleting some tanks, but I had some extra ones lying around because I was afraid that if something stupid happened, I'd have to get it. That looks even better on this tank than it does on that tank. So now I'm gonna rip the armor off the back end of this one here.
Okay.
We're just gonna go down here. Yeehaw! Look at that. That worked out so well. Yeah, I was sitting there looking at that and I thought, something ain't right. Sure enough, there it was. But this is ending happily, though. Boom. There we go. Look at that. That thing is just becoming more and more of a frickin' monster. So we got the barrels figured out. I've got those fixed. Um, hmm. What else did I need to do here? Oh yeah, the cage in the back. I do want to manipulate this front, however. Let me grab this. And what I'm going to do, see what that'll do is it'll just give me a little bit more of a lip there. And then I can add a couple of lights and whatnot. Just adds a little bit, breaks that up a bit more. Makes it look even better than it did. So we got that figured out. Just need the cage. Um, Let me look here. Well, we got barrels. Oh, those are pretty good size. Oh, that looks even better. Oh no, let's just do that. I was gonna do like a big giant cage on the back end of this, but I don't see a reason for that now. Maybe I will still do that. Let me grab this heavy armor up here. Oh, thank God, I have mirror tool on this side. Now I got that. That'll look like fuel tanks on the back. I'm going that route. I like that. And we're getting to the point of the live streams where I'm going to start asking y'all what you want to see built next. Because that's what's about to happen. We're about to have this all done. Yeah, check that out. We got those big old nice tanks right back there, and it elevates the back end of the turret a little bit. Kind of yanks it back there a little more, makes it look a little bit better. But yeah, we've got those big, massive, look like fuel tanks back there. She's about finished, other than maybe an antenna or two. That'll be a simple add-on. Oh yes, 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 yes. I still have to do this hatch. Dang, almost forgot that. Need the hatch done. The back end looks pretty good. Extra armor and the skirts on each side. That's going to work out real good. Um, hmm. Let's add that hatch. I'm probably going to regret doing this. In fact, this is why the world is so freaking messed up right now. Yeah, it doesn't seem to affect it too much. Okay, let's head back over here. We've added a couple 100 tons more weight. Now I'm going to add a armor block system here. This is where things are going to get, they could get interesting. Actually, I'm not going to let them get interesting. I'm not going to take the chance of all this getting stupid. Let's see. Stephen Philcock could be worse. Someone could pointed that out in the comments next week. Oh, yes. Oh, God, that'd be terrifying. It's called a BP every once in a while. And Happy New Year, Badger. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Stephen Philcock. And Renegade Bundy, it's called a BP every once in a while. True, Stephen. What if the cage in the back had an arm with a hinge on every side to lift stuff up to the cage? No, never mind. What you're doing looks good. Add a cage around the barrels. And a military heavy hauling ship used to pick up stuff and move it to the battlefield. I believe that is called a vehicle recovery unit, if I'm not mistaken. Or a gunship designed to linger around and just fire off multitudes of different armaments. Yeah, I thought about building something from Avatar since that came out. Let's take this thing here. I need to access this little hinge. Let's go to control panel. Hinge. This is hinge 2. We're going to call this hinge hatch. And I'm going to increase the velocity by 1. And that is the wrong direction. Reverse. All right. It's going to reverse back, and I'm going to grab some heavy armor blocks here. Or some blast ore blocks, I should say. I believe that's only 3 or 4 blocks long from there. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So this next one . there. That'll be the next one. And I'll kind of curve this around here so it'll be a little easier to get that down in there. I don't think that's gonna, well, I'll tell you what, I'll straighten that up a little bit. Now my one fear is I'm gonna build this and the whole darn thing's gonna clang out. Like I said, that one tank over there is just backup in case this thing decides to go bucking bronco on me and fly away, as they say. All right, the real question is this thing going to go down? Oh, that's not going to do what I want it to. That's going to become a problem almost instantaneously. Simple solution. My God, I hope this works. Okay. Back to hinge here. As I figure out this hatch. I'm going to make this go faster, but we're going to go down slowly just to see what happens. I will say that is one of the few times where the hatch has gone down that smoothly. Now I just need a button for that. Let's go in here and see if we can find us a button. We just need a button to make that thing move back into position. I may have to just get the button out of here. Button, button, button. There we are. Actually, we're going to do this. I'm going to inset that button right there. And its entire job, where's the hinge? Hinge hatch is to reverse that, baby. There we go. So you want to decide, walk over here, push button, and I'm going to increase the speed of that so it'll go up a little bit faster than it normally does. Hinge hatch. Let's see. Negative, but whoops, that ain't working right. Where is that button? -3. All right, and reverse. That's nice, but still not fast enough. Let's go. Let's double the speed. Go 6. Let's go 9. Heck yeah. Now that. That latches on the turret. We can jump on down the tank. Now we can jump on it, climb up on the darn thing, make it all work. Let's see. I think Bundy said something about caging around it. Oh, I've got an idea. I've got an idea. I've got an idea. As Grug would say, I've got an idea. What if we just strapped them on with these? Oh yeah, I forgot I have mirror tool on. Awesome. Oh, they're too wide. Oh, heck yeah, look at that. Now they're locked in there all nice and secure. Like they're not going to go nowhere. Climb up there. You can access those for extra goodies if you want. There we go, folks. And things look like they're just locked in place right there. Now she's looking like a big, mean monster tank right there. Now, what I kind of want to, all right, we've got one camera here. Let's see. We've got cameras on each one of the small turrets. We've also got these guys here. I've got to do some programming to the inside of this. That's the next thing that has to be done. Okay, let's just hop on down here. I need another button to access that and turn it back to open it up. Let's see, where can I put that button at? I need the button to be somewhere that I can easily find it. We don't need to be running up the ladder hunting it down. Let's just shove that out, throw the button in here. All right, hinge hatch, reverse. So once I'm inside, there we go. That's cool. All right, we got an awesome tank. It's almost done. Almost done. I need to add a block here for ammunition and stuff. And then I need another seat right here for the turret command seat. And then I've got to put these blocks over here into the command seat. I'm kind of thinking. Let's yank that out. Yank that out. I'm thinking here. Neon tubes. Isn't there a neon tube in here that's like right in the middle? No. Let's try this. Oh, wait. Can I get past that? That makes things a little tighter. Let's move around him. And no, let's not do that. We'll just leave it like it is. That gives me a whole lot more room to move around in. We're just going to have to do some other things, add some small stuff to this and work on this stuff here. Now we'll start getting finished. It is 1:32 though. I'm going to have to hop off here. So we're going to have a few more options to work with. Here we are. We're looking at the new tank for a drive here. Takes a little bit to break this thing. Still got those main guns there. And then I believe. Oh, I sent a tree packing. Look at that. I was just floating through the air for a little bit. Yeah, that is a ruthless looking monster right there. I am so hoping I can drop this thing into Xylo's little deal and we can all just enjoy this sucker driving on through. See, can she turn? Come on, baby. Yeah, she can turn. She's a lumbering beast, but that's how she operates. Oh boy. That ooh, that recoil affected this thing's movement. Oh, yes. We are doing damage. We are hurting things. Like I said, it's a nightmare. Now I am going to put up some stuff. Now, oh, wait, we've got an older tank over here. Let's spin the turret. She's got a lot of spin to her. See how Mammoth handles Mammoth. Swing kind of wide here. Oh yeah, the turret sets itself back up right after you're done. I forgot about that. That is cool. All right, let's hop out of this baby. Let's see how she did. Like jumping out of this thing is just nightmarish. Oh yeah, it took some damage, but it ain't dead by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it ripped right through the chassis section. We lost a gunner, but that was two straight up shots, and it didn't do a whole lot of damage to the entire tank. I think it could be a real threat. It could be a menace. Anyway, here we go. We've got the Mammoth. She's looking good. I kind of think the outside is looking how it's going to look. I think the next live stream I'm going to do Tuesday. That's going to put us a week behind. But when it gets there, it will be a monster to behold when this thing drops. So that's one good thing I'm looking forward to. I think what I'm going to do, we're going to wait on dropping this thing until then. Tuesday we will run through it. I may come back on here and start labeling things just to get stuff to work like it's supposed to. I am yet to blueprint it because I want to get everything ranged out, how everything runs and everything else. Also, I've got to put the other two. I think first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on programming everything, how it's going to work. And then I need to program everything on how it's going to operate within the chassis, which means tying the two machine guns on top to the two side gunners, several other things to the main pilot, and then the guns and everything will be tied into to the main to the turret gunner. And when all that's done, and I got everything labeled out like it's supposed to, and I separate everything off of there that don't need to be looked at, so we don't have to see everything. You only get to see the important stuff. and then program all that. I may do that off screen or I may do that on screen. It'll take time because I have to label stuff. But then once that's done, then it's just a poll. I think I'm gonna probably look at what colors I can make this. We'll either do red and black. Red is the main color, black as the secondary color, with silver being the third color or accent color, or green and brown. It'd be a dark forest green with camo and a dark brown, a desert tan with a black, or oh no, y'all can make a suggestion. The suggest I'll leave comment. I'll put a secondary one on there, which will be other, and you guys can comment in and the extra color. I'll tell you what. If you don't like the other colors, you don't want to vote on those. I'll put a fourth option in the vote, and y'all can suggest colors on that one by comment, and I will pick one of those colors, and we'll do that color scheme. So y'all can come up with your own color scheme. I'll put that in as my own color, custom color scheme, and I'll pick one. But whatever the other three are, the top, even if that one becomes the top one, the second most favored color, because I figured the bottom one's going to become the big one. But the second favored color, that's going to be the one that becomes a second tank, and there'll be two of them. And then I'm going to do some type of almost like a machinima. I'm going to need camera angles, people to drive the tank, people to drive smaller tanks, guys on the walls to run and jump and try to get out of the way as this thing rolls up. And then we're going to watch this thing just annihilate a series of walls, and the walls are going to blow up. This thing's just going to like roll itself on in there. Probably have Hell March blasting in the background. Thanks for the stream, Brad. See you again soon. Take care. All right, Stephen Felcock. Thank you. Um, what'll be the final paint job? Well, we're going to find out. The barrel recoil is seen, which is cool to see. Oh yeah. Blueprint it. We'll be doing that pretty soon. Well, if we ever do co-op build, you'll see how I build then program, do more building till I need to program stuff again. This is Renegade Bundy talking. Well, make a showroom paint job, then a general's paint. I think that's what the other one's going to be. I think we'll do a showroom paint. I tell you what, I know what the final color is going to be. I know what the final color is going to be. It's going to be carbon fiber as a secondary color, silver as the accent, and we're going to solid gold the rest of it, the gold paint. We'll have a golden mammoth and and whatever the other three mammoths are. So there's going to be three options. We're going to have a gold mammoth, which is going to be part of the blue, which is going to be one blueprint, and then you're going to have the actual team mammoth, which will be either red and black, brown and green, or desert tan and black with probably do digi camo for the forest. We'll do regular camo, like the odd looking camo for the desert, and then the red is just going to be straight, kind of worn red. It'll be a solid gold. We'll have like a gold tank. Will be the third one. So only three choices. Lebs, hey yo, how you doing? How y'all doing today? Doing great. We're about to end the stream, man. But you can head on back here. I'm going to be setting up a. I am probably going to take a picture of this, and then I'm going to have, or I tell you what, I'm just going to grab a couple of tanks, and I'm going to see if I can't in the next couple of minutes get Grok to build up the three categories we're going to do the voting on, and you guys will get to vote on it. So voting will start as soon as I get it up this morning, because it's not nighttime where I'm at, it's morning. Sounds a bit, yes, sick, sounds a bit off. So I kind of, everything got dry, and I've been suffering a constant nosebleed for the last 2 or 3 days because my nose is so dry right now. I can turn it and it'll crack and start bleeding. And I've gone to the doctor, and they said it's just the dry weather. We have dry, cold Arctic weather right now, and he said it's just the dry Arctic weather for some reason. So, uh, having to moisturize my nose. Wild that that is a thing. Well, that's what you'd be doing with a golden tank. Yeah, that'll be just a showroom tank. We'll have to put that. I'll have to do a world where I just build a showroom and show off some of the crap. That'll just be one of just big giant golden tank. Actually, no, that's gonna be the tank that we use in the one deal. It's gonna be a big giant golden mammoth tank. Cap caption of it is caption of it is when the fair tax takes effect. When Congress actually when Congress actually starts budgeting shit, and then we bring in the golden mammoth. Maybe get a humidifier. Yeah, I'm considering that right now. Like I said, it's I'm not sick. It's just it's been bleeding, and the problem my nose is bleeding every so often, and it's like once a day, and it causes everything else to cake up, and so I have a little bit of issues up in there. I don't have an infection, thank God, so no infection has started. But yeah, I'll get that up as quick as I can. You guys will get to see that, and we'll start. I'm gonna have to get onto Grok and see if I can get because it's one of the cool things about Grok. Um, I was telling Grexion about it one day. He was sitting there. I think we were talking about it. The thing I can do with Grok, I can take any point, any cool scene from Space Engineers as I'm playing. The Originally it was I was telling Grok to make things and put them up there, and then I got to thinking about it later. I was like, oh, you know what? They didn't look totally right. The thumbnails did not look totally right. So what I did was I got Grok to take pictures from inside Space Engineers, and I just now tell it, hey, remove all the words and the symbols. And so it will take everything off. And then I tell it to sharpen the photo up a bit more so that there's no lines or little granular effects. And then I just put some words on it, and it makes a pretty cool thumbnail. So I can just take Grok right now and tell it to make one version of the mammoth in red and black, one version in to replace certain colors, and it'll just reprint that, and I'll have three separate photos of the same tank done. I don't have to do a whole lot of Photoshop work. So if like menial little tasks like that, AI is amazing for. Telling it to take something and reset it, as long as you keep it from trying to be too creative, it works perfectly. It's awesome in those particular situations. Let's see. What else do I got here? Would be a tankless job, but someone would have to do it from Dog Soldier. There we go. We're gonna end on that note because I am getting tired now. Hardy har har. Anyway, we're gonna have for the membership. There's gonna be four more episodes coming up next week, or however many episodes I get out of the recording session we do this Saturday. That's when we've been playing. But no one's allowed to see that because we're recording, and I'm just taking the best parts of that little playthrough and putting them up. There's a point where we all start sounding like we're drunk because it gets like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we're all just like, like we really, really start sounding bad. But there's a whole lot of sections in there. Like if y'all are looking at the membership, then you're getting to see us capture ships and doing stuff. Otherwise, some of y'all are gonna have to wait till February because that's how the membership works. The videos are dropped early, and anyone who's paying 99 cents a month, they get to see those early. Also, if you guys are enjoying the channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and so you guys can see when those videos are coming out, and you'll get to see it when they are made public. You'll get alerted almost immediately. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and as usual, I am Badger Wild saying stay safe, stay frosty. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye for now.